Constructivism is not a new concept in the world of education. Constructivism is essentially the theory of making sense of something. It's how people learn. People construct their own understanding of the world instead of teachers telling them what they should think. Constructivism allows students to think differently and encourages them to think outside of the box. Some of the fundamental theorists are Jean Piaget and John Dewey. Piaget was a Swiss professor. He was a professor of psychology and sociology. He devoted his life to the question, how does knowledge grow? John Dewey was an American philosopher and educator. He wanted education to be grounded in real life experience. How does constructivism differ from regular education? The focus has shifted. Students are now more involved instead of teachers just lecturing to them all day. The role of the teacher now is to essentially help students develop and assess their understanding. The curriculum is now interest-based and based off of students' questions instead of them telling teachers what they should teach. The students now get the opportunity to learn about what they like. The classroom is also different. Students no longer sit in rows. Instead, they get to sit in groups in order to collaborate with their peers about why they think a certain way. The assessment has also changed. It is no longer just tests and quizzes. Instead, students are evaluated on their work and on their point of view, and if they are able to justify their point of view or not. Teachers also do a great deal of observation in order to ensure that the students are on the right track. The PAR model of learning. PAR stands for present, apply, and review. Present. In the presentation part, you are explaining the learning goals, presenting new material, and checking for progress of understanding. Some of the learning strategies that you can use are what is needed for the activity and also directions. The progress of learning is checked by question and answer type format instead of, the students asking the question. You ask the students the question and then they provide you with the answer. The apply part, you give a student a task like categorize these items and tell me why you categorized them the way you did, as well as peer review. And also in the apply part, you praise and encourage the students as much as you possibly can. Review. In the review part, you summarize what you told them. You summarize the lesson as much as you can, and you also emphasize the key points. The teacher is essentially giving them an overview and instructions, and the students are doing the rest. The students are doing their own learning. Relationship. The relationship has definitely changed between teachers and students. The students do the learning now, and the teacher is not standing in front of them doing the lecture. The teacher will give them a brief overview of the lesson and then give them the work, and then the students figure out why they think a certain way. For example, if I was to give my students an assignment on sea creatures, I would first explain to them the different types of sea creatures and the different groups of them. And then in the present part, I would present the new material and we would do a group discussion about sea creatures. And apply, I would organize them into groups of 4 or 5 students depending on how big the class was. And then I would give them the assignment of categorize. I would give them a stack of index cards with different pictures of different sea creatures on them. and then it would be their responsibility to categorize them into different categories. Now they can put them in any categories in which they want to. And then review, I will review key points with them. And I will ask the question, why? Why did you put each animal in different categories? For example, why did you put a whale in the same category as you did a shark?